Hello my friends, I hope you're having a lovely day, and in today's video we're taking a look back at Donkey Kong Country 3. Why? I don't know why. I just had the feeling a few weeks ago to get back into the game. Now, I played Donkey Kong Country 3 when it came out, roughly a billion years ago, as I played Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 before it. Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 are some of my favorite platformers. There's just something about them that elevates them beyond a traditional platformer, and I feel like a lot of people agree with that because the games are so highly regarded to this very day. But Donkey Kong Country 3, while I never thought it was a bad game, I always found it to be clearly inferior to the other two installments. And that's a feeling I've had with me since I originally played that game. But that was a long time ago, and I was like, I wonder if I feel the same way now. So, through Switch Online memberships, you can access the Super Nintendo collection, and Donkey Kong Country 3 is a part of that. So I have been playing the game to see how I feel in 2021. Now, Donkey Kong Country 3 is mechanically very sound. I think it fits in perfectly fine in that regard with the original Donkey Kong Country and the sequel. So it plays well, the controls are tight, the jumping feels good, all the stuff you need from a precision platformer. So gameplay wise, it does feel pretty much exactly like the other ones. But having put in a ton of time with the game, now I haven't finished it yet, but I feel like I've played enough to talk about it some more. I still have those feelings that I had when I was a kid. But I think I can better understand them now. Whereas when I looked back originally, I was just like, yeah, I don't like that one as much as the others. But now I can at least discuss why that is. There's a handful of reasons, and I think they amount to what I believe makes for an inferior experience. Right off the bat, I feel like Donkey Kong Country 3 is unfinished in some ways. It just feels like it's at like the 90% mark, like it needs a little bit more TLC, and it could be close to what the first or the second game provided. I just feel like there's some things that are a little bit off. For example, some of the sound effects. I feel like some of the sound effects are very lackluster, or they're just not there. There's sound effects that for actions in the first two games that aren't in the third game. And when you have a platformer and there's missing sound effects for, you know, important things like jumping or rolling through enemies or whatever it may be, it hurts the experience because you need that impact with a platformer. You need the impact of a jump and the impact of a landing. And some of that stuff isn't here, and it makes it feel wrong, for the lack of a better word. It makes it feel incomplete, as I said. It's and this isn't a case of sound effects overlapping and one getting canceled out by the other. It's just sound effects that aren't there, and it makes the experience a little odd because you're instantly going to compare it to the first and the second game. And when the third game doesn't have that complete audio package that the first two did, you feel like something's off. Another element that sticks out to me is the level design. There's some really inventive level design here. Some really cool ideas, and some levels that I think really push the limit and expand upon what the first games did. There's some stuff you did. There's plenty of stuff you didn't do in the original two games, and some unique mechanics that you only find in a handful of levels, and I really appreciate that. But overall, some of the levels feel too samey to me, and more importantly, I feel like some of the levels are just like thrown together. There's a handful of levels that are bigger than the average level, and they don't really have a cohesion to them. There's levels in Donkey Kong Country 2, for example, where you're going through or you're working your way up a pirate ship, and it feels like a cohesive experience. But there's levels here where you're working through, like, I don't know, a sawmill or something, or on your way up through a tree. That is a cool idea on paper, but the level design just feels disjointed, and they end up feeling like they go on too long. There's no natural flow to it, or there's a lackluster natural flow, and it makes the experience, or those levels at least, drag on a little bit. So it hurts that it hurts the game overall, and that's feelings that I didn't get from the first two games. So while there are some levels here that are stand out and some levels that do unique things and really impressed me, level design overall just I feel isn't as good as the other two. Then there's the boss battles in Donkey Kong Country 3, and to be completely fair, I feel the boss battles in 1 and 2 are some of the worst parts of the game. Again, I don't think they're bad, but I think they're some of the lowest parts. And in Donkey Kong Country 3, I feel like they really try to up the ante with boss battles. You have some pretty unique battles in here against all different types of enemies. But your goals are very unclear, and the mechanics are just so varied between them that it just feels off. Like you're doing all kinds of random stuff with weird enemies, and sometimes you get hit by components of the boss that you don't think you should be hit by, and you take damage when you're not expecting it, and just the way things play out feel more cheap or unfair than previous games or previous bosses from the previous games. You end up losing a lot of lives, not because you haven't figured out the pattern, but because you are getting screwed over in the battles, and there's no way to avoid some circumstances. Again, there are bosses here that are really cool, and I like the designs of, but the battles just, they continue that off feeling. Then there's the hardest part to quantify between all three Donkey Kong Country games, or the original three, I should say. And it's atmosphere, or vibe. The first Donkey Kong Country game absolutely oozes atmosphere. It has a very different feeling from other platformers. There's quiet moments, there's serene moments, there's, I don't know, just something about the way the music and the level design work together make for a very interesting feeling. And it's a feeling that I haven't gotten from any other platformer since then, I don't think. Now, Donkey Kong Country 2 also has that vibe, certainly. It doesn't have it as much as the first game does, but it's certainly there and you feel it. Now, Donkey Kong Country 3, for me, that vibe is there, but it feels diminished, and it's so hard to put into words what is missing. I can't tell you. I guess the vibe is, it's like a shell of its former self. You feel like you're playing a Donkey Kong Country game, but you feel like you're playing one that isn't giving it its all. The first two Donkey Kong Country games feel more special and unique, whereas the third one just feels more along the lines of a generic platformer. And it's that vibe. That vibe really kills it for me. I'm not... There are some levels where I get that vibe. I get that feeling. And I really appreciate those levels. But as a whole package, it's just not there for me. It really surprised me that I feel the same way about Donkey Kong Country 3 today that I did when I was a kid. I mean, I was 14 when I played Donkey Kong Country 3 for the first time. That was right when it came out in '96. And now I am an old man. But I feel the same way. It's just like I said, I can better explain where I'm coming from with that. And once again, I do not think Donkey Kong Country 3 is a bad game. I just feel like if you put the three side by side, it's very clear, to me at least, which one is the lesser of the experiences. But it still provides a ton of fun. There's still some great tunes in there, and as I said, there's some really interesting level design sprinkled throughout, some boss battles that really try different things, so I appreciate it for all that. But it's just not my favorite one in the lineup. So I'm interested to see what you guys think. How do you feel about Donkey Kong Country 3? When did you originally play it? How do you feel about it now? Have you not played it because you can jump on the Switch and play it now? Let me know your thoughts. But for today, that's it. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's very much appreciated. Also, huge thanks to those of you who support me on Patreon. Helps me do videos like this. This helps out with the site, the podcast, social media, all that good stuff. If you want to learn more about the Patreon, which is just $1, you can check out a link in the description below. But as for today, that's it. I'll be back as soon as I have something interesting to show you. So until then, have a lovely day and a lovely evening, and I'll see you in a few short hours.